Hey guys, so today I'm going to be making the video that a lot of you guys have been waiting for, according to the last video that I uploaded and all the comments that I received. I think I received about 70 comments, some with questions, some just saying, yes, we really want to know. But ultimately, today I'm going to be making a video talking to you guys about the reason why Jamie and I got divorced. And before I get started, I have all the questions. I wrote them all down here. So I have all the questions here with me. And before I get started kind of going through the questions and answering them, and I have not prepped for this video whatsoever. I just jotted down all the questions because I do film on my phone, so I couldn't read the comments on my phone. But I wanted just to quickly mention that out of those 70 comments, about 2 or 3 of them weren't necessarily negative. They were kind of just commenting, which I totally appreciate. It was almost on the positive side, but basically saying, you know, that is your private life and it's none of our business. You should, you know, just keep it private to yourself. You don't need to share anything. And I know I don't need to. Nobody's forcing me to share my kind of my story, but I just, this is something that is part of me. It has made me stronger. It has made me who I am today. And I don't mind sharing it. I'm also not hiding it from friends or family or even my children. I think obviously right now they're too young. Audrey's 3 and Arya's 5. They're obviously too young to understand the details of the whole story, but in the future, I'm not going to be hiding that from them. So I don't have a problem disclosing that in a video whatsoever. In fact, I think that a lot of the comments I received made me feel even more inclined to share my story, because I felt like a lot of you guys are going through similar situations and you just don't know how to go about it, or you just would like to hear my story and my details and just get a little bit just insights. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I tried to organize the questions, but then I kind of just gave up and said I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. And I'm sorry, I know the lighting's not the best and I'm in my car, but I just really wanted to make sure that I got this video out before I delayed it any further. I know it's been a week. Some people were commenting as late as yesterday, so I at least gave a lot of time for everybody to be able to see the video and comment. And I know a lot of you guys have been following me for a really long time, and you just need the closure. And some people even wrote that. They said, you know, we followed you for many years and we just don't understand, and you guys seem to have a really great relationship, so we would love to know what was the reason behind the divorce. So that was the main question that I received numerous times. Why did you get a divorce? And obviously that was the question that I was going to highlight, but then again, I wanted it to be more of a Q&A. What questions did you guys have for us? So I can make sure that I hit all those points. And that was the second thing I wanted to mention. I know that originally I wanted to make this video with Jamie, and originally he was really for the video. He had no problem. Again, he didn't hide the information from anybody else. However, since then, I don't know, he's kind of just changed his mind, and I'm not going to force him to do something he doesn't want to do. So if he did not want to participate in this video, that's perfectly fine. I kind of just wanted him in the video so it was fair for him to say his points or his comments if he felt he needed to, but that's fine too. I can make the video on my own. So why did we get divorced? In a nutshell, the reason why Jamie and I got divorced was because he was unfaithful, and I kind of caught him in the action. So there was really no back and forth. It was, you know, very obvious, and that was in a nutshell. Obviously I can go into details as to, you know, how and why and how long and how many times, but people ask me this question all the time. Do you think it was only once or it was numerous times? And my answer to that is always, I only know of one time and can confirm one time, and that was enough for me to divorce him. What would change if I knew it was more than one time? Nothing, because again, it was just one time and I divorced him because of that one time. So why would me knowing if it was 15 times, 30 times, or one time make any difference? It really doesn't. And the second question that I got asked multiple times was, who was the one that filed for divorce or asked for the divorce? And that was me. I filed, I asked for the divorce, I did all the paperwork, and yes, it was difficult. I think it's difficult to have that conversation with not just your spouse, but even in a relationship with your boyfriend or your girlfriend, if you are no longer wanting to pursue that relationship and you want it to come to an end, it's a difficult conversation to have. It's not the easiest conversation. So I know that a lot of you are asking, like, how did you go about it? How did you bring it up? It was hard. And even in my case, which there was obviously one main issue that led to me asking for the divorce, it still was hard to vocalize, this is the end. I cannot continue in this relationship or this marriage, and I want to file for divorce. So yes, it is very hard, and I think I mentioned it multiple times without kind of going through with it. I just a few times said, you know, I really can't, because of who I am and my personality. This is all I think about. This is not something I'm going to be able to get over. I think this needs to come to an end before we both waste more time, basically. And he just always, obviously he wanted to continue the marriage and continue working, and he just said, we just need more work, we just need more time. And so I would try again, and it just, in the end, the final, I guess what actually made it official was when I actually went to the courthouse, and I did that multiple times. The first time it was closed because it was a holiday. The second time it was way too packed, and I was going through it during my work break, my lunch break, so I couldn't. And then the third and final time, I actually got the application, which isn't you actually filing. It's just you obtaining all the paperwork, and then you have, I think, to wait about 5 days to 2 weeks to actually turn in and actually file. And I think once I got that application and I told them I got the paperwork, I need to just fill it out and turn it in, that's what actually made it real, and when the conversation actually started. And that was, I think, the number one thing that was very difficult for me, that I felt like if I filed for divorce, that means I failed at life. I failed my family, not just my daughters and my husband, but I also failed my mom and my dad. And I was very scared of what my dad was gonna say, and I just was very scared of what my friends might think, and I was just so scared at just failing. I literally put this tremendous pressure on myself that I couldn't fail at certain things in life, and I was failing. Me filing for divorce and just being a woman that was divorced was just failing on a whole other level. And I think that was, I don't know if that was immaturity or what it was, but it was not the smartest thing that has been through my head. And I think that knowing what I know now, I would tell my old self, you're absolutely crazy, you don't know what you're saying, and just move on and just be happy. One, do not do things because of your family or because of your friends. You have to do what makes you happy. And I can tell you right now that when I was in that state of anxiety, of I knew he had been unfaithful and it was taking over and really consuming my life, I wasn't the mom that I wanted to be and that I was before knowing all this extracurricular activities. I wasn't the same. I was not there. I felt like mentally I was always somewhere else, thinking of other things and just wondering and being anxious. And I never was that cute mother that, you know, did all these, you know, activities and learning. And I mean, you guys have seen it. You guys know who I am and how I am as a mother. And I couldn't be that mother because I was so anxious. And the second I filed for divorce, I automatically became that mother again. And I don't know if it was like the release, but I became that mother and more, because I felt that I needed to just be super mom was always my goal, and I needed to be way above that, because I needed to give my daughters now like double the love and double the support and double, and just kind of honestly be more than I ever imagined I can be. And that's what I became. I became stronger, and I became more active in their life, and more I was just calmer. My mind, my mental health went, and I think every day it just improves and improves. But I definitely look back and think now, I know I didn't file for divorce for a little bit because I was scared of my family and what my daughters would go through and the difficulties, but I'm a way better mom today than I was back then. So I think don't do things for other people or to please other people or because of what other people may think. You have to be happy in order to make your children happy and raise them properly. That's my number one advice out of this whole experience that I've received. The next question was, how did you girls take it? And they're too young. They actually have no recollection of us being together. In fact, my oldest daughter, Aria, she's now 5. She asked me the other day, who was your boyfriend when I was in your belly? And I'm like, what do you mean? It was your dad. And she's like, no, really, tell me, who was your boyfriend? I'm like, it was your father. And she's like, no, seriously. Until this day, she doesn't believe me. She can't think about us being together because she has no memory of us being together. It's very similar to me. And I don't know if this has been crooked the whole time, but it's very similar to my parents. I have no memory of them being together. Therefore, I don't necessarily feel damaged from their divorce because I always knew them just separate and I never saw them together. So I think that's almost a good thing about us getting divorced while they were still very young. There's really no damage done to them in that sense. I think once they're a little bit older, it may be a little bit more difficult for them to process because they've seen their family together, and just tearing them apart might be, you know, a little bit more difficult for them to process mentally. But again, I think that staying in a home where you're continuously fighting or you're continuously having anxiety because you're not the mom you truly want to be, that is more damaging than keeping your family together. How did you know it was the right decision? I think one really good, I guess, factor was that I let myself process it and I let myself have time to really think. We definitely went through counseling, and I think that made me so secure that it was the right decision, because again, some people can do it. Some people can forgive and forget and move on. My personality is not like that. I told him when I met him many years ago that 2 things I would not accept in my life would be 1, being physically abused, and 2 is being cheated on. And I said those were my total breaking points, and I would not accept that, and that was one of them. And I was very clear, and I think, again, giving myself time to process, going through counseling, I knew it just wasn't possible, and I was very secure with my decision once I made it, and it was very easy for me after the fact. How did you bring up the conversation? I think I kind of touched on this a little bit prior, but basically I mentioned it a couple of times that I don't think I can go through with this, and I think we need to file for the divorce. But he just was really good at convincing me otherwise. I mean, we had a good, you know, friendship and partnership, so obviously it's not something I wanted to come to an end. But I think just bringing it up a few times and then finally sitting down and having that difficult conversation, it has to happen at some point. So it happened, and I just told him I got the application, and that's what finally made it official, and we started. You just have to put your foot down. When you know, you know, and there's no easy way of having that conversation. It is a difficult conversation, but it needs to happen. Do you regret it? Does he regret it? I do not regret it. I am a very happy person right now. I feel that I am at a point in my life where I am the happiest I've ever been, and that goes back to high school. Even I'm at a point where I'm just at peace. I just better myself every single day, and I am extremely happy, and no one can take that away from me. So I do not regret it whatsoever. I think everything happens for a reason. Again, that definitely made me stronger. And does he regret it? And again, I wish he was here to answer that question, but I know that a year after we got divorced, we had conversations, and he says he definitely regrets it, and he wished things would have been different. So I think the answer to that question is yes, he does regret it. Do you see you guys getting back together? Absolutely not. It's something that we also had conversations a while back, probably a year after we were divorced as well. And he was under the impression that maybe I just needed some time, and I just told him that if I needed time, I wouldn't have divorced him, that I would have just maybe separated and got in our own places. But I filed for a divorce because I knew this was not something that we were going to glue back together. It was definitely broken permanently, and we will not be getting back together ever. How's co-parenting? So on a brighter note, co-parenting is amazing. I think that we have managed to probably have the best co-parenting relationship I could have ever imagined in my life. I don't think I know anyone that has the relationship that we do. And I think I've mentioned it in past videos. You know, if he needs days or I need days, we switch. We're very pleasant with each other. We don't really necessarily get angry at each other or argue about anything. We're pretty reasonable when it comes to things with the girls. You know, we talk through certain things. You know, should we do this? Should we do that? And we just come to a mutual agreement. And it hasn't had any hiccups, to be honest. It has been a really great co-parenting relationship. And honestly, when I filed for divorce, I thought it was going to be hell. Co-parenting, I really thought it was going to be very difficult, and I was very scared for the future, but it was amazing. It was honestly from day one very, very pleasant, and we haven't really had any major arguments. How to express you want a divorce? Again, that's not something that is easy to do no matter what. I can sit here and give you talk to you guys for a very long time, but this minute has already gone to 15 minutes, and I'm trying to make it 10 minutes. I'm trying to make it 15 minutes or less so I can upload it directly from my phone. So I'm gonna just, if you guys want specific recommendations or suggestions or kind of just wording, send me a direct message and I can kind of talk through that with you. But there's no easy way. You just have to have that difficult situation. Be honest with who you're with. Tell them what makes you unhappy and that it's something that you definitely don't see repairable, and have the conversation. You have to just do it, basically. Did you try counseling? I already touched on this. Yes, we did. How are you coping? I'm doing great. I think whenever people ask me, you know, my status, and they mention, you know, are you married or whatever, I'm like, I'm happily divorced, because I feel that that's exactly, yes, I'm divorced, but it's not a sad thing. And whenever I would just say I'm divorced, people would be like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm happy. I'm perfectly okay. And people just don't seem to like that answer. They just get really sad when I say I've been through a divorce. And obviously, again, it's not something that you want to go through. You don't get married to get divorced. It's not a happy thing, but I definitely think that in the end, I am in a way better place right now, and I'm very happy, and that's all that matters. I think my daughters are very happy, and they are enjoying life to the fullest, and nothing has been taken away from them. They are not damaged, and I think I'm happily divorced. The next question, did you see this coming in your marriage? And I think this is a really good question, because a lot of you guys commented, you guys seem so happy together. You guys seem like you had the perfect marriage, and we really don't understand why you guys got divorced. So, we did not have the perfect marriage before the infidelity happened. I know there was a lot of issues that we had. We just weren't the same person, and obviously you don't have to be the same person, but we clashed in a lot of different ways. I think I was a saver, he was a spender. That we clashed in, I guess, the finance department. We clashed a little bit because of that. We also clashed. I was very organized, he was not as organized, or not organized at all, and I think that made us clash a little bit. Also, the 5 love languages, if you haven't read that book, it's an amazing book. It really just talks about 5 different ways or languages where people show their love, and usually the way you want to receive love is the way you give love, and we clashed in that as well. So he was giving me love the way he wanted it, and I was giving him love the way I wanted it, but it wasn't the same. So he wasn't feeling loved, I wasn't feeling loved, and it was just a whole bad synergy. So did I see this coming? No, I did not see this coming. I think I would have, again, it wasn't a perfect marriage, but I wouldn't have divorced him if there was no form of cheating in our marriage. Do you think there's anything you would have done differently? No, I think I am very content in how I processed everything. I think I was actually surprised at how well I processed and took everything, and I have absolutely no regrets. When did you know it was not worth fighting for? I think I've kind of answered that question. I think when you know, you know, and I think sometimes you just need to go with your gut feeling, and in the end it works out. I think the day I filed for divorce, I had this like, I felt like I could breathe again. I felt like I was free, and from the first night I slept in my house by myself, I not once felt lonely. My dad would call me and he would say, "Are you lonely? Do you get lonely at nights?" And I'm like, no. Like, not once do I feel lonely. I think in the entire time that I've been living on my own, I think maybe twice I've heard something downstairs or outside that I like run outside kind of worried. But it's more just I need to protect the girls, and I'm by myself. Not necessarily, oh, I'm lonely and I have no one to hold me at night. Like, it was never like that. I slept very peacefully from night one. I never had any issues with that. Are we dating? And I think I'm gonna call this person and kind of just not call her out, but give her a spotlight. Alexia Marie, her question was, are we dating? So is he dating? Are you dating? And she also follows me on Instagram, and I posted a picture and she commented on the picture, and I couldn't stop laughing because she's like, whoa, who is this? He is so hot. Are you dating him? Is this your boyfriend? And I literally couldn't stop laughing. So yes, I'm dating, and yes, that's who I'm dating, and yes, he's my boyfriend. So I'm dating. Jamie's also dating. He is dating somebody pretty seriously. He's been dating her for a few months. I would probably say more than that. There was a gap in between the relationship, so I would say it started over a year ago, and they're still together now. So the girls have met my boyfriend and they've met his girlfriend, and they like both of our significant others, and he's met my boyfriend and I've met his girlfriend. So it's been very, very pleasant. Again, no issues. We haven't had any hiccups, and it's all been really great. I think that is the end of my questions. I have not been able to do this in less than 15 minutes, which is not the greatest thing, but I hope this was helpful to you guys. And again, I think that if you're in a similar situation where you're very unhappy and you're just in your marriage because of what people may think or because you have kids, those are definitely not the reasons why you should be in a marriage. I think you have to be happy, and that is the number one thing, because if you're not happy, your kids are not happy, and you're not the best of yourself to them. So just your number one priority should always be just being happy. And that was something that for some reason was so difficult for me for so many years, and now I am exactly where I need to be. Like, I am so happy, and I can't say that the process wasn't hard. It obviously wasn't the easiest thing to do, but I think nothing good comes easy. And I think after all that work and all the processing and all the paperwork, you come out the other end and you're just a better version of yourself, stronger version of yourself, and just overall a happier version of yourself. So if you guys have any additional comments or questions, let me know. That's it, guys. I'll see you in my next video, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye, guys.